Hi guys, hi everyone. Welcome to our first ever chat on the I Get It Now platform. So as you know, okay, you guys are people that I've been discussing with over, a long period. You know how I feel about young people these days. If you look around you, you find that a lot of young people are suffering from this or from that. And sometimes they're even working, they've got money, but it's still not enough. Sometimes they have problems with parents, they have problems at work, they have problems with friends. But on the outside, everything looks good. So I thought rather than us having, discussions on the side, one-to-one, let us just bring this onto the platform so that we can share our insights, share our experiences, and see if we can reach out to some people out there and try to help as much as possible. So before we go any further, I would like us to introduce ourselves so that everybody out there know who we all are. Of course, they don't know me either. I'm Matseleng Mogodi, and I'm in property, but I'm also in human behavior. And for as long as I can remember, I've always been a teacher. I've always, had that kind of a connection and caring about especially young people, because especially in these days, we can see that there's a lot of potential in our young people, and we want our young people to really excel because they are the future. And one day somebody said, "You keep on saying we are the future. Why did you mess up the future?" And I said, it's never about us. So it is now about what you do for other young people, because we'll be gone and you will be left here, and you need to correct how we are doing things so that you can enjoy, and so that your young children as well can start to enjoy this world. So maybe we'll go to Unati to introduce yourself and say just a little bit about yourself. Unati? Can you hear me?
You loud and clear, Matseleng. I don't know if Unati can hear you.
Okay, you can go ahead, Milka.
Oh, okay. My name is Milka Bosoga. I am born Sirite Mahlangu. I do life coaching. I work as well. I've got a daytime job, which I don't like. I don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about what my
No, we
passion
want to
is.
know.
My passion is life coaching, guys. I have been working for government. I worked since 1996. I worked with President Mandela. I worked with the former president. Currently, I am. Please open up for me. Unati, can you connect? Matseleng, can you connect Unati?
I'm bringing her back.
Okay. So yes, I've been working for government, and but I'm really working on doing life coaching full time. Life coaching is my passion because I realize that as human beings, we really need to develop ourselves and discover what is there in our existence for us. Because if you're given a long life and you don't interact with the life that is given to you, life can be dull, can be boring and frustrating. Thank you.
Thank you, Milka. All right. Kala.
Hi, everybody. I'm Carla van Bouillon. I am a relationship specialist and also in the life coaching arena. And I love to inspire people to have meaningful relationships, as everything is in relationship, because we are in relationship with ourselves. And I love to teach people how to love yourself and how to have a meaningful relationship with your partner, a meaningful relationship between a parent and a child, and the family, and your colleagues and your friends and everybody. And even your relationship to money, your relationship to your dreams, your relationship to your fears, everything is in relationship. So I love to teach people how to step into meaningful relationships and have that serve you in your life. So that's me. I'm glad to join today. Thanks for the opportunity, Matseleng.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you for joining us. And Vis?
Hi, I'm Vis Naidu. You'll see the name says Vis and Mona, so my wife Mona will be joining us shortly. My day job is a business improvement specialist. So I work with clients in terms of helping them improve their business, especially from a customer service point of view, and just general improvement around business results. Quite an interesting role. It's never two days are the same. It's always fun. But more than that, I'm a philanthropist. I love making a difference to people's lives, and especially the youth in marginalized areas. I think since climbing Kilimanjaro in 2016, we've never looked at the youth or underprivileged communities in the same way since being introduced to them. And one of the things I do is coach young people. I mentor them, especially some of the kids from the school that we work with, and to see that they're now in university and they're doing really well. So yeah, that's as part of what I do. And for me as an adult, I think our role is to inspire the youth. If nothing else, we've got to give them the hope. We've got to be that beacon of hope for them.
Yes.
And that's why I'm glad to be here today, to share.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks,
Vis. Yeah. Unathi?
Can you guys see me?
Yes.
And here.
Yeah.
We can see you.
Okay. Hi, guys. Mats, thank you for the opportunity to be part of such a platform. My name is Unathi. I'm an entrepreneur. I work in the geospatial environment and in the mining space. And I'm inspired by the kind of message that you'd like to portray to the youth, but also I think this is such an integral part of our growth. And I believe that we need to inspire young people through human behavior, and maybe our life lessons and what we know can teach others, and they can teach others. So I'm grateful, and I'd like to have an interactive discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Unathi. All right. So I think it's so important that we get into it, because I'm hoping that out there with the young people that are watching us today, we want them to take something out of this, because I look at young people that are either blaming themselves or that are in pain, or they're frustrated, whether it's parents or communities. So, and I'm hoping that through the things that we're going to discuss today, they will take something that will heal some of their wounds. So maybe Carla, let's start close to home. Let's talk about family. What do you think the family can do for young people? Because if there was no problem with some of the families, then we wouldn't have been having problems with the youth. So what do you think the family can do, is doing, or should be doing, or could be doing to make sure that they provide the right platform for the young people?
I think that is an awesome question to actually start with, and it's inspiring me even more now to have this opportunity to share just a little something about it, because my husband and I, we are so inspired about how can we teach families to take on traditions from one to the next one, and to keep that wealth in the generation. And when you say wealth, people immediately think dollar sign, and that's not at all what it's about. It's about the human capital, about the intellectual capital, about the social capital, and then the financial capital that a family has together. So the first thing to really, if you think about generations that has been famous and has actually made a great contribution, is because they gathered as a family and said, how can we let every single one in the family feel part of this family and have them feel that they've got something to contribute into this family. So I think the biggest thing and most crucial, not even to complicate it, actually simplify it, to amplify it, is to say if the family can have time together, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, to sit together and show to each other, this is the value that you bring to us as a unit. This is the value that you bring to us as the unit. This is the value that you contribute. That will bring the confidence in each and every single person in that family and make them stand together as a family unit to be there for the better of the whole family and then the broader community family and then the nation. So, yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
All right. But right now, you know, like as I was saying, there are a lot of problems within families. So a young person listening out there, having a problem with a sibling, with a parent, what can they do? What can they do? Because those are the kinds of problems that we are grappling with. So what can they do?
Well, that is taking it from a different angle. To say that. So to label someone as a problem is already labeling a child unnecessarily as if they are the cause of something and trouble for the whole family. If the whole family can see how it serves them, what challenge they might perceive them through, that can contribute to each one in the family seeing whatever. So the easiest way to think of it is, say for instance, there's a child with disability, and it feels like a burden to look after that child with a disability, and the older sibling that constantly needs to look after that child is burdened to not get them attention because the disabled one gets attention. So the best thing that I would advise a family is, coming back to that value, is to go and see how does that serve the whole family? How is that unlocking something for everybody, their genius in the family?
Okay.
I don't know if you've got something to add. What do you think?
Anybody else that wants to add on to that? Because I'm still looking for, here's a young person in pain, parents are there, siblings are there, relatives are there, but they're still not able to get out of this pain and move on with their lives. But we'll come back to that. Milka? Yes, Milka?
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity once more. My point of departure to existence is nobody has a manual to life. So most of the time we don't have knowledge. Like a human being is born with an empty mind called, that state is called tabula rasa. And then we are taken through stages. After 4 weeks, you are into a month, you are a neonatal. After a neonatal, you're an infant, you're a child, you're an early childhood, you're a middle childhood, you are a teenage, you are an adolescent, you are a young adult. So it is categorized by ages. What needs to be done properly is to impart knowledge. Somebody was talking about how can we take knowledge and transfer it generationally, you know. So it is the responsibility. It's the responsibility of caregivers, of parents, of those who are rearing children to ensure that they learn. You know, in stages that people exist in, we rush those stages. We don't learn. And the key thing for me as the point of departure, as human beings that get to be exposed to start using our cognitive features of the brain, of the mind, we need to teach properly and ensure that learning has taken place. And that's where from learning, you will have experiences. From experiences, you know, it goes with ages. Where are you with your age? And you start expressing yourself. From the age of 18, 20, you know, people want to express themselves. They are at young adult stages. Now, a lot of people get to those stages and they haven't really thought of who they're going to be because of what is important for me about individuals. And that's why I promote development to the core, because of with development of your different life stages and psychological tasks is that you get deeper understanding, but also you will acquire ability to analyze. And when you analyze, you will be able to examine where you are as a person. Am I an uplifting person? Am I a draining person? Am I a neutral person? So you need to answer those questions as an individual.
Yeah, but
and then
okay, all right.
you ask,
yeah, I was saying, like,
then,
for a young person, how, when, and how do they ask themselves those questions? Because they find themselves in situations. So how do they think or remember to really go back into those step-by-step? Is it easy to do that, or is there a way for them to just be natural and just continue with life, but applying those points that you're saying?
You know, if things were to go my way, people need to be orientated. And I had experience with young people that I have done coaching when they think they know. The problem comes from there. That I was talking about children and people not fully staying their course in their particular level of existence. Let's say teenagers have a way of wanting to be hip and happening when they don't have much information. So the little information that they have, they are bound to make mistakes. And it's a pity that in families, their ears are closed, and parents are also under pressure to get it right, to know what to say. You know, I am very Matseleng. There's a phrase that says, you know, you start with someone from young ages, you know, guiding them, reminding them. As a parent, you need to remind your child that they don't know much. They don't have a lot of information, and encourage them to ask questions, because it is when they ask questions, you would be able to tell them that, you know what, you also have an intuition. I want you to kind of tell me, what are you about in this, you know, phenomenon called life, so that they contribute in that positive way. But it's about communication and.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you so much. So what I wanted to ask you is that, as you're speaking about parents, so young people to listen to parents, but how sure are we that as parents, everything that we say is what needs to happen? So, but I'll just take that through to Viz, to maybe tell us, are the youth struggling with identity? Is there something that can be done?
Matseleng, I think that's definitely true, that they are struggling to find their identity, and the more that they try to be somebody else, the more confusing it becomes for the individual. And you know, I can share this because that's exactly what I've been through in my young age. And I think for quite a while trying to find who I was. Whereas if I just chose to be me, because everybody else is taken, what's the point of trying to be anybody else when everybody else is taken? Then life becomes so much easier because you just have to be you. You know, and I think young people don't understand that concept of, I just need to be me and love who I am, and life becomes so much easier. You know?
But it's not easy with all the celebrities and all the good things in life. How do they separate, you know, being themselves and being these people that they look up to?
And that's the thing, because we're trying to be like somebody else rather than be original. So, and exactly what I've been through in my young days as well. You know, I would try and cut my hair in a certain way. I wanted to look like George Michael, but I'll never look like George Michael. I tried to...
Maybe, you don't know. You could.
I tried to emulate pop stars and realized that that's not who I am.
Yeah.
And then later on in life, when I've just learned to be and love me for who I am. And yes, it's hard to say that to young people because they don't get that concept. They don't get that concept because they want to be popular. They want to be like everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the more that us as adults get them to understand that loving and being who you are is actually the path of least resistance, that you start to understand.
It comes naturally.
It becomes natural, exactly. And then you start loving who you are. And it took me a long time to get there,
Yeah. But if I don't like my hair, I don't like something about me, but I like how color looks, I like that, what do I do? Because I see the attention that other people are getting that I'm not getting. So how do I deal with that?
Yeah, and I saw a really nice video recently, and it was about 3 women getting into a lift, and they're all looking at the attributes of each other. And you realize that every one of them loves something about the other person. It's only until they told each other what they loved about the other person, they realized that I'm actually okay.
Yeah.
We compared to everybody else until someone tells us what they love about us, and you realize I actually have something that other people love, so why don't I love it myself?
Thank you, Viz. Unati, what do you think? Yes. So you know how parents have expectations, certain expectations of their children. And sometimes when parents have those expectations and young people do something else, what do you think that does to the young person?
Sure. From my own experience, I think it's one of the most challenging things a youth that is growing up can ever go through, because it's not their experience. The expectation that someone has about someone else is not yours. It's expectation of someone else. So to impose that on a young person is very challenging. I know from myself, I used to defy my parents all the time. And
we can see
we constantly had clashes, and I was labeled a rebel child, right? And I was labeled a troublesome child.
Yeah.
All in the plight that parents couldn't understand the way in which I was communicating back to them or giving them feedback. And we had this tussle for as long as I could remember. And I do think that we're born in the knowing. As human beings, I believe we're born in the knowing. You come to earth to live an experience. And the experience that you live is an experience that can only be authentic to you so that you can come out. So an example would be, I had a lovely example this afternoon. My 7-year-old is acting like a 16-year-old. He decides he wants to leave the house because he can't take punishment.
From
the mother, yes. So there's an expectation from me that he should respond in a way that I think is okay according to my standards. So I impose my standards on my child, and he can't meet them because we have these outbursts. So today we had a discussion, and boy, did it go the other way. So he packed his bags in a suitcase, and then he walked up the driveway. And then he went to the neighbor's house. And then I asked him, what the hell are you going to do there? He says, I'm going to ask those guys to live with me because you do not want me in your house.
Yeah.
So before we started, I was like, okay, I'm getting all these nice challenges, obviously, because I'm part of the whole process. I'm part of the ecosystem. I'm part of this dynamic because I'm in a family. I have youth in my home, and I'm developing young children to be the youth of tomorrow. Yeah. So his experience was to rebel.
Lovely, good boy.
So he gave me feedback, And the feedback was it was not as I expected. So we had to
Yes.
challenge each other there. And he's back in his room now having a nap. And I chuckled because initially I thought it was going to end badly, but we
Yeah.
all find love in each other when we are able to experience who we are. So if parents can learn to experience who youth are, their growing kids are, to themselves and not to them,
Yeah.
we'd learn to find ourselves.
So would you
As a
then
family.
say, yeah, would you then say some kids could find themselves trapped in what the society or the parents are expecting them to become?
Of course,
would you
definitely.
say they end up doing things because what will mommy say? What will daddy say? What will Gogo say? Because I'm expected to be so do you think that they live their lives trying to please and find themselves trapped? And that is why we are seeing so much pain.
I think the aim to please for young people at the moment is because they want a level of being able to elevate themselves. So they want to be accepted by others. So
Yeah.
there's this perception that you need to be a particular kind of standard to be accepted by others. So if I do well by my parents, I'm accepted at home. And if I do well by my friends, I'm accepted there. And if I can't conform to my standards, because when I conform to my standards, it might cause some conflict between the people I'd like to be seen as this particular person. Like social media. So if on social media I come across as this rebel that posts all these negative comments and these things that look not socially acceptable, people are not going to like me. I need to post a perfect body. I need to post a perfect bag. I need to post perfect food, things that are acceptable society, because I'm going to get the likes. I'm going to get the likes, and that's what they crave on. That's what they feed on. So the expectation build starts from where the background is stemming from.
But okay, so now catching on you on that, right now, I'm looking for likes. So I want people to like what we are saying. So would that make me somebody that wants that's addicted to social media, that wants to be liked? I do want those likes. I want them. So what do you say about that? Because young people are addicted to social media, but it's the way of life today. But the only problem is when they don't get what they want out of social media, that it starts to become a problem. So what do you say, guys? What do you say about that?
Okay, from my side, when I started the social media, I was young. I wanted all the guys to look at me, my body, and say, wow. I wanted all the business people to give me business because I was a confident person. Not a chance did I get that. I had to work the hard way.
Yeah.
So what did that teach me as a young person? It taught me that maybe, just maybe, social media is not the platform that can get me to come out and be authentic.
Be yourself.
It's not. So the likes, I also saw that the likes, they only liked when I was happy.
Yeah.
When I looked the part. When I posted that I was upset, no one looked at that. Or they tried to say, oh, so sorry. So there's a little pity party going on if you feel sad. If you're happy, everybody likes and everybody likes. So for me, that's kind of one-sided. It doesn't give a feeling that I'm touching people's hearts or they're touching mine.
Yeah. Carla, would you say that this is one of the things that creates anxiety in young people? You know, not getting something that you're expecting to see. So you post something nice, you're expecting the likes, you're expecting nice comments, or you doing things that you think other people will want, whether you know or you don't know. What do you think, Carla?
It's interesting as you speaking now, Matseleng. I think it was all of you to admit and say you want the likes yourself.
Because it's those likes.
Because it's a mission. It's us as humans. It's like, I remember looking at a show of Oprah where she said, doesn't matter if it was Prince Harry or whoever, or if President Mandela, whoever it was, everybody wants to know. When they walk off the stage after she did an interview with them, every single person asked, do you think I was good? Did the people like me? Everybody wants to know, did they like me? Am I liked? Am I fitting in? Am I part of this tribe? So I think way beyond that is the need to be. And I think it kind of concludes to where, Milka, where you started. It starts from infancy. If a child feels unseen, if a parent looks on the screen, on their own screen, or keep on watching TV and they don't see the child there, Daddy, look at me, I'm a Spider-Man, Superman, whatever. If they don't get seen, they've got that need forever until that tank isn't filled up, or that cup is not filled with I'm seen, I'm heard, actually listened to. And coming back to what you said, Milka, we ask questions. We should listen to the kids as well. It's a whole different system from where I kind of actually, where it was a hierarchical system, where my parents taught down on me. They're the adults because they've got the knowledge and they have to impose it down on me. We're living in an age where it's a mutual, it's a spiritual connection. Got as much to teach us as we can teach them. Relationship that we're in, we have to listen to both of them. And when we literally like show our own vulnerability, I'm battling with this situation in my life, give the example to kids, this is how I'm battling with it, but this is how I'm dealing with it as well. Yes, I also want people to like me, but learn to like myself first before I need the permission of other people to like me as well. So as a child, we don't know how to do that yet. So we do look for the outside acknowledgement. But as we grow older into youth, we get the capacity to now fill our own cup and to learn that I'm not what those people say. I can choose who I want to be. And I know it's not like today I wake up and now I've got my identity. Now I know I'm yes the rebel or no not the rebel anymore. It's a time, it's a journey, almost like fit on clothes. Today I fit this jacket and this personality, and then I realize no, it doesn't work for me. It takes time to find yourself, but I think you can do it with curiosity, the childlike curiosity that every one of us had when we were young, before shame and guilt squashed us. Be curious. Who is it that I really am?
Yeah. So Milka, would you say that, like as you were speaking earlier on, that these are some of the things that create problems in relationships when young people go into the workplace? Is it because of not having gone through certain stages or skipped some of the things that they needed to have learned as young people, from parents, from society? What did you say about that? Problems in relationships, are they just about the other person? And I think I like what Carla just said, that if people don't like themselves, how do they expect somebody else to like them? So if we carry wanting to be liked into a relationship, into the workplace, how do we survive there?
It's very hard to survive there. And by the way, as these children grow up, from what Carla is saying, that when they want attention from daddy, can you see, mommy, can you see? And you don't fulfill that, it creates a void. And that void, believe you me, is going to be acted out. Then there's misunderstanding. Then there's other pressures of life. And then you find that the parent and the child, they don't get one another because of external pressures as well. So the role of a parent to remind the child and to be vulnerable to the child, to say that I don't have every answer, I want you to help me. When you do that, allow them to help you, to guide you in what they understand of themselves, and ask questions, if they could participate in that. Because as a parent, you would know whether it's going to be dangerous or it's not dangerous. Then you can discuss that with your child. the beauty of working together, parents and child, is that you allow one another that, lack of a better word, that process of observing and coaching as parent and child, so that you allow them to contribute to their life, but also to learn through you, to practice learning and so forth. What I like about us as human beings, we have these things that we need to learn, which is language. Language needs to be formed and developed from the home space. You know, you can say how you say things, be rough with one another, but when you teach children how to talk back, how to respond, you planting things like ethics. You know, there are right and wrong things to do. And I don't want to lose you, but just to stay on the question that you ask, I think it would really take a close interactive session to say that parents need to remember that a child takes long to grow up. You know, this had said that it took forever. Development takes a long time. You know, you would have to go, I don't know, through how many stories, through how many personalities to find yours, to cut yours, to tailor fit the person that you are. So it just takes time, and it needs that understanding.
Yeah, but do you think we interfere? You know, like what Hunati was saying. Do you think we as parents sometimes interfere and we don't listen to our children, allow them to tell us what they are going through, what they feel? Because we already know the destination, but that's not the child's destination, you know, and hence I was saying, so maybe Viz can talk to us about, you know, experiences in the workplace. Hello, Mona. Hello, welcome.
Hi, Mona.
Welcome, Mona. Yeah, so, okay, you unmute. Okay, so Viz, I was saying, from what Milka was saying, you know, sometimes when kids have gone through things, but they pass exams, they get their degrees, they find good jobs, but they still don't cope. Would it be because they try to align themselves with what parents wanted, and therefore they're not really doing what they love? So what would you say, I mean, especially with young people that you coach and businesses that you coach, what would you say about that? What do you see amongst young people?
Matseleng, excuse me, you're quite right, that they feel the pressure to deliver on somebody else's request or somebody else's expectations, rather than just being themselves again. You know, it goes back to this whole point of be yourself. And, you know, with our son, there was no expectations when he finished school to go to university or any expectations of what he should do or become, because that's his chosen path. It's not our path, you know. So we took away the pressure that he would feel if we said, you must go to university, you must get a degree, you must do this kind of job. Because your mother and I went to university, so you must follow in our footsteps. It was nothing like it's all that pressure, I guess, that parents put on their kids to do something, especially if they didn't do it. But, you know, Milka
how
talked
safe
about
is that? How safe is that?
What, allow children to be
dangerous that parents expect children to get a certain degree, to do certain things, because they feel, because I didn't do this, that is why I'm experiencing these things. So you better do this, you better do that. What is the impact on the young person?
And I think it comes from both those pressures. One is, if the parents didn't do it, then the child must do it. Or if the parents did it, then you got to be like us and also do the same.
Or better.
Deliver the goods, exactly, or better.
Yeah.
The pressure on them is just way too great. So
what do we do? What can we do?
Again, allow children to make some of those choices if they, obviously, I wouldn't say adult enough, but at least if they mature enough to make those decisions, because I think it's decisions they're going to make, you know.
But if I'm paying their fees, hey, you know, as parents, I'm paying the fees. I will tell you what to do. Then what happens? Whether you're happy or not happy, you'll be happy in your own house, not in my house. You must get a degree. What do you do?
And that comes from the point of seek to understand first before you want to be understood. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Parents do want to be
Yeah.
understood. They never want to understand what children want or what they're going to.
Yeah.
I think
Mona, do you think we listen to kids? Do you think we listen to our children?
No, we don't. And do you know that every time when we had, remember the session we had with the youth in 2019, because we couldn't have it last year for Youth Day. The one thing that all the kids say, and even our son, up until today, right? There's certain times he's got to remind us. He's 26 years old, right? He says, Mom, just listen to what I'm saying. And when we step back, right, you know, as parents, we don't mean to do harm to our kids.
Yes.
We just want the best for them. But we're also running with these old programs because we think that we already judge ourselves for being bad moms, bad fathers, you know. So we come with that and we unconsciously put this pressure on our kids, right? So we don't listen because firstly, we think we're the parent, we know everything. Right?
Yeah,
right?
we do.
Exactly. So it's just about us stopping. It's like there's this whole thing about communication, and that's what Vis and I learned through our own relationship program last year. We have not been taught how to communicate. We've not been taught how to listen when someone speaks. But listen, are they coming from a place in their head when they're fearful, or are they speaking to us from their heart?
Yeah.
Right? So we repel people when we speak from our minds, from our the upper part. But when we speak to our child from our heart, our child feels us.
Yeah. How do we make parents not to say, in our times, this is what we used to do? A child would never do this. How do we communicate that to parents?
Think about it, right? As DeMartini facilitators, okay, the one golden thing we have is about values. You know, this thing about values, going through that values training and really understanding ourselves first. We can't actually be the best parents without first understanding ourselves. And every time we pick a finger and point it at our child and tell them how we grew up, the times are different now. Children are different. And actually, children are more evolved than us adults.
And there are more?
Exactly, right? And it's because they are so evolved. They see things simply, and we've gone and complicated it. Right?
Absolutely.
So as parents, we have to dip down into our heart. We have to step down from our pedestals.
Unati,
I actually wanted to ask, can I add on to that one?
Yes,
Mona, I love it that you said like dip deep into it. As all of us are life coaches, you know that you can take your client as deep as you are willing to go. If you're not willing to face the same fears that your client is facing or have dealt with it, you won't be able to help them break through. And that is what's amazing about being a parent as well, that your child is giving that to you. You don't even have to go search for it. You don't have to go get that client. A child is sitting there with all the things that you can go deeper and deeper to unlock within yourself, and in that real-time space to show to them, I'm diving deep into things that really scares me, that I completely don't understand about myself, but I'm trying to figure out, and showing that then you actually a space, because like the same thing with the communication, it's not just sending a message.
We lost Carla there a bit. Carla? All right. I like what Carla was saying, and I was actually going to ask her that right now, if we're saying that, you know, parents want to give direction to kids, but what if that direction is not what the kids really want? Carla, can you Let me.
She's not back yet.
She's not back yet.
If I may come in there.
Yes, Milka.
What Carla was saying opens to me the lens of our spirituality.
She's back.
Hi, Carla, are you back?
I'm back at it. I got off there for a moment.
You are frozen, so we're making up for you.
Oh, thank you. What
I got from you, Carla, when you say that we need to go deep, through the mirror that the child is putting to us so that we open ourselves and really delve in. You are talking to our spirituality. We are spiritual beings. I think, Matseleng, parents need to realize this and trust, and have faith to kind of step back and see if things are going to go wrong, or is there fear? Because of fear plays a part in our role. Discouragement plays a part in our role as human beings and in our existence. Making choices plays a role. These are the things that we'll have to face on day-to-day basis. You have faith, you don't have it, you need to build it. It comes by chance. You have dread. You need to deal with the dread that you're facing. Choices are right in front of your face. You have to make choices. If you don't make choices, things are going to go wrong. So you rather make those choices. But all those, I want to look at them through the lens of spirituality, that we need to trust. We need to kind of allow, the deity and the spirituality that we are to emerge. To emerge, yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to ask Carla, from what you are saying, that maybe Milka, you can answer that. So are we saying that our children are our teachers, but if you don't understand the bigger picture, you may not understand that what your child is doing is actually feedback for you to look within. So how would you say our kids are our teachers? Or no?
Yeah.
Or we are still there?
They are definitely. They definitely are our teachers. Guys, I learned a new word on Saturday. I have another group that I joined. It's called We Will Lead Africa. And in the communication part, the language part, the brain has a part that deals with language, and it's on our cognitive as well. And it's part of who we are. We cannot run away from that. We need to give feed forward. It mustn't be feedback, because of sometimes feedback appears to be negative because of you kind of criticize the other person on what you didn't like. But how about when we evolve and transform and transcend, we need to learn language properly for what it is. To say, what I would love to hear from you, Mom, is this. What I would love to hear from you, my son, is this. That is actually feed forward. You're not blaming one another, but you're taking one another forward. And I think we need to do that from time to time. So that we're able to move forward. Because in this experience of living and learning, the essence is to move forward and to mature.
Thank you. I'm just looking at the time, and I want us to just touch briefly on the experiences that the youth get in their workplaces. This is coming from the fact that I've worked with a lot of youth. So they come into the workplace, they're brilliant. You can see that this person, has so much potential. But then in the same group, you find others that are doing very well, that are very focused. And then you find others that are just there because there's an opportunity or because there's nothing else to do. What is it that we can do as parents or as employers or as employees or as colleagues to encourage the youth to take advantage of opportunities? Because I think most of them will go into a workplace and they will say, no, I'm not employed to do this, or I'm not employed to do that. But I'm thinking if you are in a workplace where you are not really, and Mona, you touched on values. I'd like you to explain a bit about values so that they can understand what values are, because it's not integrity and honesty and those kinds of things. So I'll come to you. So how do we help them to really embrace it and know that whatever they do within the workplace is not for the company or the employer, but for themselves, for them to grow? How can we get this through to them? So sometimes, oh no, I'm being, abused, I'm bullied by my boss and all of that. How do we make them see that they can actually turn things around to their advantage? So Mona, maybe you can talk about the, values. What are values?
Yeah. So, like we're talking here to the youth, right? Most of the times when we talk about values, most people will say, oh, it's honesty, like Matseleng was saying, honesty, integrity, transparency. But that's not what we learned all those years ago. We learned that our values, it could be like me. My highest value is learning, going into understanding money, right? My second highest value is serving others, teaching. Everything that I learn, I teach to others. My third value is all about wealth and knowing how money is made, how to spend it, how to multiply, right? Now you'd be surprised and say, oh, how can that be your values, right? Now, just so that our youth understand, Vis's highest value used to be family. Mine didn't feature anywhere, so we used to have conflicts, right? Now, the same thing in the workplace. If your highest value as a youth, a young person in the workplace is like, connecting with other people, but your boss wants you to go sit in a corner office and just do programming or something, you're going to feel challenged. You're going to feel stifled because you are juiced up. You come alive when you would.
So what can you do then? You're in a corner office, but you want to be,
you want to connect, right? Firstly, I think it's the employer. The employer should be aware of all what is the genius of each of his employees, because it's easy to put the blame, onto the employee, the youth.
Yes.
But the youth must also be able to have the courage and the confidence to speak. But it all depends. It all depends what your background is, because we do know, right? In our sorry,
we see you. We see you.
Think about it in our Black communities, right? If we're working for an employer or anybody that's older than us, we're taught not to just speak out, to ask for something different, right? But this is where it's like building confidence. So it's both people. It's always two per people in a relationship. The employer to check, that's not a lazy worker, right? The person may just not be doing something that's in their zone of genius, because we have different zones. So it's important for us, even as parents, where's my child's genius? Where does it lie?
Yeah. So definitely young people are not lazy.
No.
We just have to know what is important to them so that we can align them to those things that make them tick.
Precisely.
So don't you think it's the opportunity for adults to change their strategy? For example, I took a decision that in the business, I'm not going to take on anybody who hasn't been through a process where we find out who they are at interview stage, what their values are, what's important to them, and why they think they need to be afforded the opportunity to come and serve here. Because the list is long for many people who are looking for work, but are those people going to fit the criteria of what you as the employer would like to achieve in the position? So it needs to change strategy from the adults, which are the employers, to say that, how do I want to project my workplace so that I get a capable candidate on the outside to come and fit in and expand in our business? And that helped me so much, because I grew a community of people who wanted to follow their career development plans. So I said to everybody, come guys, let's come and have an understanding. Where do you want to go in your life? So each and every position would fulfill what they wanted to achieve in their professions. And for me, whether they stayed or whether they left to another opportunity, it always gave me the certainty that I was taking on people who wanted to serve in that particular position that was available in the
That we're
organization.
really interested in that.
Yes. So in the interview, the first interview, when they come after the ad, if they've been selected, the questions that they get asked: what do you do in your time? What do you do with your money? What do you do by yourself?
Yes.
How do you come to an interview? Who are you? So the strategy definitely needs to change from the employer. Yeah. The misfits, and generally the misfits are the geniuses, are the ones that add diversity and dynamism for companies to grow. And we need those young people to come in. So the youth, I think, should be given a fair chance, not from them, but from us, re-strategizing and re-engineering our organizations and the places of work where we are impacting their growth.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Just before we finish up, I think one of the topics that are very important, that I think are really touching me, is the fact that there are a lot of young people today. You know, you go to any workplace, you go to schools, you go everywhere, you find young people that are experiencing depression and anxiety. I know I touched on it a little bit, but what can we do to help them? Are they really depressed? I know that it's a very sensitive issue, but what is it, like, as a 2-minute advice, what is it that we can do for them to make them aware that they are good, they are okay, and they can fight this? What can we do? What can we say to them?
I think, yes, Matseleng, on that one, it could be the topic for the next discussion, because we can dive into this one. And I would say someone that says that they have not experienced one single moment of depression in their life is lying. I think as humans, once again, it's a human condition, because we've got fantasies. We idealize of what we think life should be like and what we think it should be. And even more so as youth, because we see all this social media and thinking, but that's what the work life should be, but that guy's got that car and that Wall Street job and all of that. Why am I not having that? So the first thing, in a nutshell, I would say, as key role players in youth's life, as a mentor, as a parent, as teachers or whoever, I think the most important thing for us to do is to help them get realistic, because no fantasy is greater than the reality in front of you. What is actually as it is beautiful. How you are as a human being, where you are, is the perfect moment, perfect place for you in your life journey. So to help people to realize, if they have this fantasy, break down that fantasy, because that is causing the depression. At the moment when you're in the present, you don't miss something. You don't feel like you need more. Enough is enough. You are already enough. You are enough. What you have is enough. Where you are is enough. So, yeah, in a nutshell, I would say get back to reality.
Thank you, Carla. I think just in closing, maybe Mona and Vis, 1 minute, so a few seconds.
I think
then I'll come to Nati and then Milka.
The big thing, Matseleng, is being able to listen to the youth, listen to our children, listen to the co-workers and colleagues, because I think they want to be heard. When they're heard and they feel they're being heard, I guess that'll settle some of their fears. And for me, it's about really listening to what they have to say and giving them honest feedback. Because like Mona shared the example of being in that corner, if you really shared how you felt, somebody's going to take some action to help you get out of that situation, you know?
Thank you, Vis. And Mona?
And what I would say is to the youth, start by not compare. It's adding on to what Carla said. Like, stop comparing yourself to others. Just be in the present moment. I came across something today. you're just having a bad day. It's not a bad life. Take every moment for what it is and just be present. And the one thing that everybody can do is look at what's good in your life right now, what's working. And
Lots working. Yeah. Thank you, Mona. Unati?
On my side, I believe in young people should be themselves. No matter what you've done or what you've not done, you are always worthy of love. You do not have to conform. It's okay to be upset. And just like Mona said, it's a moment. Also, adults, maybe let's accommodate our young people and see ourselves in them, because the child that's in front of you is your mirror. They are a part of you. So if we learn to realize that we can give each other time for expression, we will meet each other halfway.
Thank you, Nati. Milka?
I want to quote A.H. Almas, who says our life situation or our work situation, it's like school. So everybody, adults, children, ask yourself questions. Do I know what I'm doing? Because in every action that you partake in, there are consequences. And out of the consequences, what do you want to associate it with on the negative or the positive of those end results? So learning to maturity, we need to grow.
Thank you. So we have come to the end of our session. Thank you very much to everyone that has been watching. So as a next step, so what we are planning, I think one of you mentioned that, Kala, that we need to expand this like in the next session, like with depression or any other topic. So what we are going to do is that we are going to single out and just take one topic at a time. And in our next session, we're going to invite you so that you can be part of the discussion. So through a webinar or Zoom, and we are going to listen to your opinions or what parents can do or not do, and what things you require to make your lives better. Because where we are sitting, you are the future. Indeed, you are the future. So if we are not helping you to help yourself, you are going to be burdened by the problems of today in your future. So let us try to resolve that. And, we had a thought that maybe in that session, we will allow you to have your masks on and maybe namazaza, so that we can allow you to speak your minds, just in case the parents are watching or other people are watching, and we can just put things on the table and talk about everything openly. But if you are brave, you can just the mask, throw it away and just talk and say what you want. So please follow us, look out for the links so that you can join in and give us your opinion. You can challenge us, because all of us here, if you're looking at all of us, we are lifelong learners. So we want to learn from you young people. So teach us. We will be very grateful for that. So follow us, look out for the links, send us your details so that we can send you those links for you to be able to join us next time. So thank you, everyone, and good night. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Good night. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.